Hi, this is going to be a quick little tutorial on how to play hand percussion in a band. This isn't going to make you a professional percussionist in 10 minutes or anything, but it's primarily aimed at people who don't already play drums or percussion. In other words, people who maybe sing or play an instrument and then occasionally play hand percussion in a band, like shaker, or tambourine, or cowbell, or widow, or whatever. Um, Again, it's not going to make someone a professional in 10 minutes, but there's some kind of fundamental guidelines that can really help things sound better and sound more musical and pretty simple. So, we're going to talk about three things. We're going to talk about when to play, what to play, and how to play it, kind of in increasing order of importance. Um, there are no hard and fast rules. Music is art, not science. Having said all that, because I'm going to talk about rules, but really they're more like suggestions. Okay, so as far as what to play, first rule, which is not a rule, of course, is don't play all the way through a song. Almost never is it musically a good idea to play all the way through a song. Percussion is kind of like a spice, and you want to kind of sprinkle it accordingly. Something that makes music interesting is variety. So if you're at the beginning of a song and the song just starts and you just all the way through the entire song, it's almost like you might as well not even play because there's no variety, nothing changes. There's a theory of production which says something should change every 8 bars. Either add something or take something away or modulate or change the rhythm or do something just to kind of add variety to it. And percussion is kind of part of that. So let's just talk our way through a typical song. A typical kind of rock, pop, dance tune. Let's say it has an intro. It's a full band intro. So if you want to play through the intro, that's fine. If it's a full band, pretty loud intro. Then when you get to the first verse, stop. Just drop out. I kind of do that with the drums most of the time. If I do that to put a spotlight on the vocals. I'm playing the intro, and I get to the last bar of the intro, and I kind of will open up my hi-hats towards the end of the intro, and then psh, so it makes even more of a contrast. And I tighten everything up, and I play the hi-hat quieter, and I play a real solid kick, but maybe not really loud on the snare and not loud on the hi-hat. Um, like this. I'll play like the last bar of an intro, and then I'll tighten up like the verse is coming in, like. The reason I do that is this puts the spotlight on the vocals. Everything gets big, 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 and then way down. And then it kind of tells the audience, whoa, take a look. Let's look at the singer. Imagine if the band is blazing away through the intro, and then it's time for the vocals, and the singer starts singing, but the band just keeps blazing away at the same volume. It's almost like you're not going to notice the vocals. So you need to make a hole for the vocals. Something needs to change where the audience goes, oh, the band just got quieter and left a hole for the vocals. Especially, I try to quiet down the high frequencies, the hi-hats and cymbals. I suck those down really tight, make room for your vocals. Okay, same idea. So you want to play through the intro. If the whole band is playing an intro, typically 8 bars, whatever, play through that and then get to the first verse. Just stop. Just stop. The drums will get quiet. Everything will get quiet. It's kind of hard to get quiet on percussion because it's mostly at the same level. Just you want it to get simpler. And then you get to the chorus, start playing again. Then you get to the second verse, maybe don't play at all, or maybe just hit the backbeat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, just the backbeats. And then you get to the second chorus, fine, solo, blaze away, fine. And then there's a bridge. Maybe don't play during the bridge, depending. Usually a bridge, not always, but often a bridge will get quieter. If that's the case, don't play. Probably. If the bridge is a halftime bridge, like some bridges are, absolutely don't play. Halftime is when you go from 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 to 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and it's half as fast. So if the band is going slow, they go from 1, 2, 3, 4 to 1 and 2 and 3, and you're just shaking away through that, still shaking away at full time through what's supposed to be a slower section. It kind of defeats the purpose of going into halftime. It's supposed to feel kind of quiet and subdued. And then after the halftime bridge, when it builds back up into usually like a double chorus or something, fine, blaze away, have fun. So that's when to play. Also, maybe don't double what somebody else is doing. If somebody is already shaking away on the shaker, maybe don't do the same thing because it's almost never going to line up. I've seen three people play shaker at once, and it's not nearly as good as one because almost always they're going to flam. They don't. So flam is when instead of this, you get this. The two notes go da da, and it just sounds kind of like a herd of bumblebees. It's just this kind of incoherent, buzzy mess. Shakers and tambourines really cut through because they're so high frequency. They, in a way, they're kind of the loudest thing on stage just because they don't have any competition. They cut through. So if somebody's already playing shaker, maybe just play a backbeat, the 2 and 4. That's all. It's on a shaker or with a tambourine. So that's when to play. Also when to play if a song starts with just guitar or just keyboards or maybe a cappella. Probably don't play at all. There's a reason it starts with just guitar. It's trying to set a mood, this kind of very exposed, emotional mood where the guitar is all by itself and then you hear just a vocal, very exposed. It sounds great. The guitar player probably doesn't need somebody telling him where the backbeat is. And we don't really want to clutter that soundscape. We want it to be exposed and kind of, vulnerable, just vocal and piano or vocal and guitar. So on a song that starts like that, I wouldn't come in with percussion until the drums come in. And in other words, they come in all the way. They're fully in. The full drum set's in. Because think of percussion as kind of an augmentation of the hi-hat, right? Instead of the 8th note hi-hat, it's usually a 16th note. It kind of adds that 16th note kind of, nice little finishing touch on top of it. Okay. So yeah, quiet a cappella stuff, for the most part, don't play. And certainly don't start the beginning of a song and play all the way through the song. That's almost never a good idea. Okay, as far as what to play, okay, typically with most songs, most mid to medium fast songs, like let's say maybe 90 BPM up to like 140 or so, you want to play 16th notes for the most part with a shaker, right? We count music. We count quarter notes. Those things you count and tap to, those are quarter notes, and we count them 1, 2, 3, 4. And in between each quarter notes and 8th note, we count those 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. In between each 8th note is a 16th note, and we count those 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a. So there's 4 of those 16th notes to every beat, right? So you want to play all 4 of those, and you want to play them evenly and precisely. The good news about shaker and tambourine is you get like a free bonus note. So you don't have to think 1E and a, 2E and a. You just have to think 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. And the shaker or the tambourine gives you that free note when you come back, right? So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and automatically becomes 1E and a, 2E and a, 3E and a, 4E and a, 1E and a, 2E and a, 3E and a, 4E and a. Automatically. So that's your typical pattern of 16th notes. If the drums are going like, it's like 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3 and a 4 and a 1, 2 and 3, 4. You want to play this. They need to be even and precise. And the same thing applies to tambourine. What you kind of can't do, especially with tambourine or with shakers, you can't just kind of like flinch and just play some random fast little notes and then line up on the backbeat and think that's good enough. This comes from these, they had these, during those kind of hullabaloo shows during the 60s, they'd have these dancing girls, usually in a cage or something goofy, and they'd have tambourines, and they'd be shaking them. And see, they weren't really tambourines. They had all the jingles taken out, and they were just like having fun with them. But if this is the backbeat, 1, 2, 3, 4, what you can't do is kind of go. See, all those backbeats lined up perfectly. That's good. But the rest of the shit didn't line up at all. And that's horrible because the 16th notes always have to line up, because when the guitar player is strumming chinga 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 chinga, or a drummer's drumming and he's whatever he's doing, those little notes in between, those are 16th notes, and they have to line up exactly with the percussion, or it sounds off. It doesn't sound right. It sounds like you're singing off key. It's not a good feeling. So you can't just kind of shake a little bit and then hit the backbeat, and then shake a little bit and hit the backbeat. It has to be precise all the way through. That's what to play. With the tambourine, again, you can just hit backbeats if it's already kind of a busy tune, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's fine. And you want to land that on the 2 and the 4, right with the backbeat, right? Same with shaker. You want to accent the 2 and 4. Almost always, the backbeat is king, right? So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, down, back, kick, snare, right? So it's always 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. Or just hit the backbeat, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Backbeat, 2 and 4. Remember, friends don't let friends clap on 1 and 3, right? That's kind of the old white ladies in church clap on 1 and 3. We don't want to do that. That's when to play. That's what to play. Now, here's the most important thing of all, how to play it. The answer is really simple. It's simple in theory, but it's hard to do. And the answer is you need to play it locked in, absolutely locked in with the drums. When you're singing, and there's a way to do this. The way you do this is you have to actually change your mindset. When you're playing percussion, you are a member of the rhythm section, and you have to change your mindset. When you're singing, you're focused on, understandably, you should be focused on the main chordal instrument, in other words, the guitar or the keyboard, and the vocals. You're listening to the guitar. Hey, am I in tune with the guitar? And you're listening to the other singers. Am I, in tune with the other singers? Especially if you're singing harmony, you listen to the other singers. Am I at the right interval? Am I a fifth above her? Am I an octave above him? Does it feel right? You're listening to them and making sure you're in tune with the guitar or the keyboard, which is super important. That's where your focus should be. When you're playing percussion, you have to totally switch gears. You have to have a different mindset, and you have to focus on locking in with the drums. When people play percussion and it's off, which happens fairly often, when it's off, it's 99% of the time it's ahead. So it's not random. It's the person playing percussion gets excited and they drive ahead of the beat. That's it's not good, of course, but it's actually worse than being behind. It's kind of horrid. It feels like, well, imagine you're singing and someone is singing next to you, and they're supposed to be in unison with you, and they're singing loudly in your ear, 10 cents sharp. That's almost exactly what it feels like. It's almost painful, because as a drummer, you have two choices. Try to kind of mentally plug your ears and ignore that loud thing that's ahead of you, or your instinct is just to go with it so that there's not this terrible rub of being kind of off key. But then when you do that, you're pushing the whole song too fast, and now all of a sudden I'm ahead of the bass player, and that's not a good thing either. So the answer is, in your mind, imagine there's like a little mixer in your mind, and you can listen to the different instruments. Normally you're listening to the guitar and the other vocals mostly. So when you're playing percussion, you got to pull those down a little bit and turn up the drum set, and the bass guitar also. But not just the whole drum set. Really what you need to focus on is the kick and the snare. When I'm overdubbing like tambourine on a recording, I put my headphones on, I hunker down, I turn up the drums in my mix. I turn down almost everything else. I lower it at least, if not off, and I keep the vocals up so I know where I am. But with the drums, I turn down almost all the drum set, except for the kick and the snare. And I just have that pretty loud kick and snare in my headphones, and I just focus only on that, and I focus on locking in with that. And it's not easy, and a lot of times I do more than one take, and I'll do it, and it'll feel pretty good, and I'll listen back and go, oh, I was ahead right here a little bit. I'll do it over again because you have to focus. So in your mind, you have to kind of take your fader and turn down the guitar and vocals and turn up the drums, especially the kick and the snare. Ignore, even if it's a busy beat, there's a lot of other stuff going on. Underneath it all, there's a simple kick and snare pattern. It could be like, but underneath it all, there's that. One, two, and three, four. 1, 2, and 3, 4. Whatever it is, it's real simple, just the kick and snare, and your job is to lock in with that and not get ahead. If anything, be a little bit behind, but realize no matter how excited you get, you can't push. I've sometimes seen people they're looking at the guitar player and the singer, and they're excited, and they're going with them, which means we start doing this. It's like they're singing sharper than I am. And then we start doing this. Either we get further apart, which sounds horrible, or I have to speed up, which also sounds horrible in a different way. So the way to practice this is to put a song on at home, just a mid-tempo tune, maybe a tune we play it through some speakers so you can hear yourself, and then play percussion along with it. Grab a tambourine or shaker or whatever and play along with it. And maybe don't play during the quiet verses, play during the choruses, and just practice locking in, because that song isn't going to speed up no matter how excited you get. There's not a drummer there going, I have to speed up to match the tambourine. It's not going to happen. So you're going to find there's a gap between yourself and the pre-recorded rhythm track. And so then you go, oh, I'm ahead. And then just practice and realize it's almost like you need to kind of relax. No matter how exciting it is on stage, you need to relax and just imagine the drums are carrying you along like a magic carpet. Just get on and go for a ride. The drums will carry you along. Don't worry. Even if you fall behind, you won't get too far behind. They'll end up kind of pulling you along. And it'll all sound wonderful. There's nothing that really sounds better than when you got a nice big band on stage, like 6, 7, 8, 9 people, and I have a little percussion along with the drums to kind of fill that in. It feels really good. It adds some ear candy and some sophistication. There's nothing better than that. But there's nothing worse than having percussion that's off from the drums. I'd rather have no percussion at all, because it's like great backing vocals. That's one of our strengths. Super strong vocals. There's nothing better than great backing vocals along with a strong lead vocal. But if the backing vocals are out of key, off key, you're better off just having lead vocals only, right? It's the same kind of concept. So we just want to practice that, and always think, I'm not going to get ahead. I'm going to lock in. And really, it's like you kind of have to avoid that instinct to get excited and rush ahead. It's just relax and lay in the groove, because being ahead of the beat is nervous, whereas being a little bit behind the beat, kind of lay back in the pocket, is actually kind of powerful and feels kind of relaxed and professional. It's just a different vibe entirely. Anyways, that's probably more than anybody needs to hear, but that's kind of my take on how to play percussion in a band. Thanks for your attention.